Okay, we're still going down Pinto Canyon Road. I had to get out and take care of business. And sun's coming up, starting to get warmer. But while I was out there taking care of business, I remembered I went to China. I was poisoned by the Chinese government. It's true. Me and my whole crew. I was lucky to get a job in 1985 at all in oil and gas exploration. And preface it by saying that I had announced to my mom and dad in Houston that I was going to Asia to look for a job. And they thought I was crazy. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any interviews set up. I was just going. And that's just kind of the way I roll. And so I go over there and I look around for a job, and there's a whole long story to all that. And the miracle, the series of miracles that happened in order for me to get this job in China. With I worked for Western Geophysical, and they didn't have any oil exploration work, so they sold off their equipment to the Chinese, who were developing their own internal oil exploration. And we were the first what you call digicized crew to ever go to China in 1985. It was a big deal. And this whole multi-million-dollar equipment package went with a 12-man training team. And by the time I met a nice fellow by the name of John Finkston at Western Geophysical, he had hired 11 people and he needed one more. And I happened to be in Singapore available, and he had been in touch with my old boss, Roger M. at Fairfield Industries. And so, I had the green light, and it was a miracle. That was one of many miracles. And so off we went to China in 1985. And when we got there, the people were still riding bicycles around there. You didn't have all these shiny buildings and everything. China was still quite primitive compared to today. It was very primitive compared to today. And check this out. Isn't that pretty over there? And anyway, we get up to China, and we go to the city of Tianjin. And Tianjin is a coastal town. We were actually operating out of the port of Tanggu. We had a big seismic ship and all these little inflatable Zodiac boats, and we were blowing up compressed air gun. We had a compressed air gun barge that was blowing up like dynamite. That's a whole nother story of how you actually find oil. Most people don't know what you go through to discover oil and gas under the ground and under the ocean. Anyway, we get there, and it's a big deal. And our supervisor tells us, we get to this little guest house, and the supervisor informs us that we're going to a banquet that night, and it's a great honor for our company. And he's not able to attend. He's got something else to do, but he tells us, go back to the hotel, put on the best clothes you got for oil field workers, and the cars will take you to where you're going to have dinner tonight. So we say, okay. And his last words that I remember were, just do whatever they tell you to do. All right. And we're in the middle of Tianjin, China, and we get picked up, and we go to this banquet hall. And it's my first day in China, okay? And so we go to this banquet hall, and it's full of Chinese men in uniforms and suits mostly. We're dressed sort of somewhat casually, maybe jeans and a button down, or maybe not even that much, but these guys are fairly formally dressed, and they welcome us, Western Geophysical and yada yada, and it's a big deal, and they're very honored. There's a speaker up there, an MC up at on the stage, and we get up there, and let me preface it by saying that there are all these round tables in the middle of this banquet hall, and they have lazy Susans on them, and you know, those things you can spin around, and on each table is a bunch of beer. I think it was Carlsbad beer. I can't remember, but it's Carlsbad, I believe what it was. There were these young girls that were coming around and offering us beer and encouraging us to drink and relax and have a nice time. And while we're doing this, the Chinese guys are getting up on the stage, introducing themselves, and they're you know, singing a song or reciting a local poem, or you know, just sharing with us, you know, who they are and where they're from, and so that was very entertaining. And but all the while, these young women are moving around our crew, and they're encouraging us to have another beer, you know. And the next thing you know, they're passing around Motai rice whiskey, and this stuff is, you know, you take your first shot and it's akin to battery acid, you know. And but we were told to just do whatever they told us to do, and the guys were all encouraging. Every time somebody gave a speech or sang a song or did a poem, we were all supposed to drink, because this is how you do in China, right? And so we all take a shot of this stuff. The next thing you know, it's going down pretty easy, right? And so after their entire presentation, look where we're going right now. After their entire presentation, we are hammered, just hammered fucking drunk. And now they inform us that it's our turn to get up and tell us something of our country and our, you know, our people and whatever, you know. Sing a song about where we're from, or say a poem, just like they did before. Only now our crew is plastered, you know. I mean, we're drunk as Cooter Brown, and this is the sneaky plan that they have. If you ever go to China, keep this in mind, because they'll slowly get drunk while they're, you know, they're first up at bat. But then, you know, after they stretch that out a while and get the guest drunk, then they'll have the guests come up. And, you know, there's several of our crew members got up there and said something. And after each one of their speeches or songs or what have you, you know, the women are there pouring us those shots of rice whiskey again, you know. And when you try to say, no, thank you, I've had enough, they're like, no, go ahead. And they're real sweet about it, you know, but they're very insistent. And so we're knocking back these shots, and oh my God, by the time I got up there, all right, they said, Steve, go up and sing a song. They should not have done this. I get up there, and they want a song about, you know, the South. They said, sing a song about the South. And I was like, Dixieland, you know. Well, I wish I was in the land of cotton, old time there, and I forgot. Look away, Dixieland. In Dixieland, where I was born, early on the frosty morn. Look away, Dixieland. Well, I wish I was in Dixie. And, you know, so forth. You get the picture. And then, you know, after the song, they bring me a shot up to the podium. Here, have one. Everybody, yeah. And all the suits and the uniforms. They're all going, yeah, do it, you know, take another shot, do it again, sing another one. By the time they got me off that goddamn stage, you know, I'm singing the Wabash Cannonball, you know, and they're trying to rip that microphone out of my hand, you know. It's like, well, listen to the jingle, the rumble, and the roar as you drive along the woodland, through the hills and by the shore. And one of the few things that I remember after they dragged me off the stage physically was that one of the Australian and one of the New Zealand crew members got into a fist fight, and were like knocking over beer bottles and trying to hit each other, and we were very unceremoniously dismissed apparently, and I have no recollection whatsoever of this. What I do remember is waking up with one of the most horrendous hangovers of my life, and literally I was poisoned, and I couldn't remember what happened. I felt sick as a dog. My head was just throbbing, and it was awful. And so here's the lesson to you boys and girls out there. If you ever find yourself in China, you know, don't listen to your hosts and the pretty young girls serving the booze, but you know, take it easy, my God. Our supervisor came in there. What made matters worse that next day was our supervisor came in there and started hollering us about being such fucking idiots. And I'm telling you, man, it was everything I could do to keep from just, you know, hitting the guy over the head with a chair leg. And I was ready to die. It reminds me of another story. And the only other time that I really remember being poisoned by alcohol was on the island of Cozumel in Mexico on a family vacation. But we'll get to that.